Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Exploring Brain and Mind. My special guest today is the lovely Evie Greca, and Evie has a subject which really close to my heart. I'm one of these people who dig below the surface of the iceberg, so to speak, as to what is good for us, what is not so good for us, what helps our brain, what helps our mind. And Evie will, excuse me, will tell us a lot about healthy eating, our health, and toxins in food. Welcome, Evie. Please
Thank you
introduce
very
yourself.
much.
Please introduce yourself.
Thank you very much for having me here. Um, yes, so my name is Evie. A lot of people say Evie, which is fine if you're difficult. Um, I have my background is in design, basically. I have studied both interior design and graphic design and worked for many, many years in that. I was always interested in health, but nothing as much as the last years, which in a way I had more time in my hands and allowed me to really go and look things into detail and see so many things we've been doing wrong just by habit or not questioning enough. So now I feel a lot more informed in what I'm doing. And I'm using myself as kind of experiment, to test things out, see how things work. And
That's
it's a
good.
good
That's
way to
good.
start. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. How did you get into this field of healthy food, healthy eating, all that? Did you
Yes,
have a certain experience or something that kind of kicked it all off, so to speak?
kind of. In a way, you're right. I had family members who had a lot of problems.
Mm.
And like my mother had Alzheimer's towards the end of her life. She has been quite healthy before. And I'm still very interested in the subject and trying to find out what really was the trigger for her,
Mm.
because I can't see a lot of the common triggers were not there. So it's still something I'm researching. And I'll come back on this. Something very interesting came up only a few weeks ago in the research. Um, well, I might as well say now, it's important.
Mm.
Basically, you know about Alzheimer's and the talk is the amyloid plaques in the brain. That
I heard about
Yeah,
that. Yeah, there is a lot of talk about that.
that's right. Now what it was found that the original research, which was about 30 years ago, it was fiddled with, basically. So there is no proof about this type of amyloid beta that the study introduced back in the 60s, I think.
Hmm.
Uh, Not 60s, apologize. 2006 was the study. And it was even done by University of Minnesota, so quite a reputable firm. You would
Hmm.
expect them to do better. The problem was that since they came up with the theory of the amyloid beta that develops in the brain of the Alzheimer patients, everybody started researching how to avoid it, how to, you know, yeah,
Mm.
to make it better. So we have all these years no results because they were following the wrong path, and
Mm.
it's so frustrating. How many
Hmm.
people, they could have been benefiting had the research been focused on many other ways. So that's a lesson for all of us, basically. Don't not to take anything for granted.
And not to focus on one single thing
Absolutely,
because
yes,
there could be much more involved than just one factor.
absolutely. And really, our bodies are so complex that it is almost naive for us to think, oh, we found the answer, this is it.
Yeah.
And it never is. It's always many factors and the interrelation between them. So I think that's one lesson I'm following now.
Hmm.
Just don't take anything for granted. Keep reading, keep looking, testing
Yeah.
it, and etc. Yeah.
And
Um,
that's what science should really do, isn't it? Because
yeah,
science is nothing that should be set in stone, so to speak. It's nothing
absolutely.
fixed because there's always um new insights coming out with more research. So there shouldn't be like this is how it is and that's that, and we don't need to look into it anymore. We need
Yes.
to kind of be flexible and keep on looking, keep on researching with things to do with the bodies as well, isn't it? Because we all have different genetic makeup.
Yeah,
different
absolutely.
metabolism, different each body is different, and so they can't kind of say, oh no, it can be only this one thing.
Yes, absolutely. It is. We need to be very open. And I think I would say the last years, it's another lesson that we can see where the science led us down a
Oh
very
yeah.
one-way system. And now it's coming up that it was not necessarily the right way. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so that's it. So basically, to go back, yeah, after my mom passed away and other family members passed away with heart problems, diabetes, and things. And while they were sick, I did not have time. I was working full time. I did not have time to look in detail. I knew
Mm.
something was not quite right, but you need to put time in it. So later on, when I had the luxury of time, I started reading and learning, and um, and also over the years, I had put weight on myself, and I want to lose it. So I started learning about about the food in itself and what are
Right.
the right foods for us. Yeah, I don't like diets. So
Mm.
I found by eating healthily, the weight came off naturally without too much stress and
Yeah.
yeah,
I think
and
that a lot of things with diets is as well. They might get your weight down, but afterwards, oh yeah, I stopped eating like that now. Let's go back to the old ways, and on goes the weight.
yeah,
It's just,
absolutely.
it should
Yeah,
be, it should not be called like weight loss. It's more like weight management, isn't it?
it is. Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of it, we're losing water in the beginning and we're getting all excited and things. But then it comes back as soon as, yeah, unless you change the main ingredients that you put in your body.
Yeah,
And the and the body takes care of itself. That's the amazing thing. We've been gifted with such a beautiful, how can I say, complex organism, that it's
yeah,
self-healing. It does so many
absolutely.
things for us. And we forget that and to start looking for external intervention always, which,
That's the
uh,
thing. That's how we got trained, isn't it?
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's still the case, but there is some light on the on the horizon
I'm,
that shows that yeah, we have safe healing capacities.
definitely, definitely. We just need to let the body do its job and not interfere too much.
Yeah,
And and of course we need the medicine, the allopathic medicine. We need it if we have an injury. There are things that we always going to need some external intervention. But for general health, that is metabolic health, as you said earlier, it's very much up to what we put in the body and let the body get on with it and give it good stuff, avoid the bad stuff,
yeah,
and
yeah,
believe in the capacity we have inside us to heal ourselves. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, definitely. So what kind of things, what kind of factors are we or do we need to
To
be
focus
aware
on.
of when it comes to food and yeah, healthy eating?
Yep, absolutely. The food at the moment, I would say organic is a very, very important issue because the more becomes very obvious now that all these chemicals we have introduced over the last 30 years, I think it's when they first came up with
Mm.
ways to stop the weeds interfering with
Mm.
with the crops and all that. They had an effect on our health. It's not a coincidence that since we have all these extra chemicals in our food,
Mm. Yeah,
the health stuff going down. Like statistics don't lie in this. It's one of the factors for sure that we had. So organic as much as we can. It's not always as pure as it's supposed to be, but it's the best we have, and we need to encourage producers
hmm,
and to do more of that instead to gradually abandon this massive culture of monocultures that uh, it is taken over the last years, and go back to the roots a little bit and start having growing things in like permaculture. You probably heard about it. This is
yeah, yeah. Also,
something that comes up
I did
as
a
a concept.
gardening course years ago, and it was always about you kind of rotate crops. You
Yes,
plant one year, you plant that. Next year, you plant something else, so that something can replenish in the soil. Then the third year, you might plant something else that gives more chance for replenishment. And it's like three or four different things that you kind of rotate the soil
that's
with, so
right.
that there's a chance to replenish the nutrients and things that if the soil
Yeah,
needs to give the food or the produce the right to create in a way that is comes out right
yeah,
for us.
absolutely, yes. Because that's another good point you touched upon, that our soils become depleted of the good stuff, of minerals and what the body needs. And so one way is to add them back again. And
Yeah.
in a small scale, we can do it. Like in my house now, we collecting our any food, leftovers things when we peel vegetables, and we
Mm.
just put them in the garden in the compost heap,
Hmm.
and we try to grow things this year, and it was amazing. Like everything, like loved it. The soil
Mm.
had become so rich. But so it is, yes, all of us to try our bit and collectively start growing better quality food.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
smaller units, we need to encourage, yes, the, the agricultural industry to get away from the massive monocultures and start growing variety of things because they support each other.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
our farmers definitely need support.
yes, right now it's a
They need support,
yeah.
and they need it even more now. I might divert away a bit from the food, but it's not for human. It's not good for humans to have all these fields full of solar panels.
Absolutely, yes, yeah.
We can't eat solar panels, and there's
We,
so I am shocked at the amount of comments that say, "Oh yeah, it's great, it's clean energy and stuff. It's gonna get cheaper
uh,
energy." They believe all this stuff. It's incredible the amount of them. I wonder if
yeah.
they're all AI bots or if they're really people.
No, people believe the official version, and quite often another case where we are led down the wrong path because we know now there is a big problem, like with a lot of these solar panels and a lot of the wind farms.
Mm.
They create a massive environmental problem because they only have a short lifespan, and
Yes,
then they cannot be recycled.
yes.
I, I watched a video the other day, really scary, when they had a whole fields full of the wings of these windmills,
Windmills, yeah.
just the wind, and they were burying them and covering them with soil. It's horrendous to think what we're doing to ourselves. So it's always,
Yeah.
yeah, we need to look the totality, not just one more small portion of it. Okay, yes, it produces some energy, not consistently. And for another example, and I know we're going away from food, but it is important, like you said, we have all these electric cars push now. And then you go to see
Batteries.
yeah, the battery is one issue, and that all the charging points where the energy comes from. It comes from
Exactly.
traditional methods that they take it.
Yeah, we don't have the
Yeah,
infrastructure for that. I
exactly.
I had people on the bus discussing that one time when I was traveling somewhere, and they were talking about how on earth would they kind of maintain all
Yeah,
the infrastructure. We're running short of energy anyway. Was the grid not having problems anyway?
we have indeed. Yes, we have absolutely. But part of it is because of the switch is done in a way not thought thoroughly, and there are a lot of scientists
It's
now who,
I tell you,
found out.
it's big business. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's
Big
always, I'm
business.
afraid.
It's a money making. It's a cash cow. It's a fantastic cash
Yeah.
cow for them on the top there.
It is, and there are a lot of subsidies, I take it, which are, yeah,
Yeah.
must be attractive to
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Right, let's go back
So
to the food then.
do the food again, yes, but it's all related in a way because, as you say,
Yes.
we're losing fields that could produce food to produce this type of energy and so on.
Mm,
Um, so basically, yes, we need all of us, I think, to try to grow. It has to be a mentality of the small scale now growing, if we
mm,
can. That's brilliant. And other than that, we just try to find the best organic we can, support the farmers, buy directly from farmers as much as we can.
Yeah,
And I think there is a shift to that direction now. People are becoming more and more aware. And some smaller farmers are now already dealing with the public directly. The big
that's
ones
good.
are not switched on yet. I think they still live
Yeah, 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 yeah.
in their world, yeah.
Mm,
But I can see positive signs, and it's just to increase awareness of all of us. We have a responsibility now. We are in a,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah, we live at times where we're leaving the old stuff behind, but the new has not come in fully yet, if you see. So this is the
yeah,
time to make the changes the right direction in a way.
yeah,
We want the
yeah.
future to go, yeah. And the food
That's
is one of the major ones.
yeah. I've got a good quote for that. When I
Yeah,
had a
I,
I need to look for the little sheet where I have written it on because
oh,
I'm very much interested in what the Hawaiians are doing and how they're preserving their culture and their things. They're bringing things back that they have been discouraged to do for quite a long time because they
yes,
had been taken over by the Americans.
I,
But there's still people that there's still a very strong connection to nature. And one of the kahunas, he has said that we have to no, what is it? We need to learn the past to save our future.
yes. But it's very wise. It's brilliant, actually. Yeah. Funny enough,
Be
I collect quotes as well. I love sometimes, you look back and read something, and yeah, it's
yeah,
very relevant. So that's brilliant. We need to remember things how we used to do things, and
yeah, yeah.
and also I think I feel kind now, being of a certain age now. I'm the last generation that still remembers how things used to be, like when my parents were growing up, growing up and having. And the youngsters now, they will not know unless we make sure we pass that knowledge on. And
That's it.
yeah,
That's it.
so
But that's also how they preserve their knowledge. Going back to the Hawaiians again, how they
yeah,
preserve their knowledge because they've always the kupuna, the elders, they always passed it on to the next generations.
yes,
And that is still practiced a lot there, and that has kind of gone lost in the Western cultures, especially with like disruption of family structures, things like that.
yeah, you're
And
right. You're
we
absolutely.
kind of we need to bring something like that back again, and also this connection to nature.
Yes, yeah,
We need to reconnect to nature more rather than being disconnected from it with lab grown foods
yeah,
and all that nonsense with all these chemicals and additives and things that they put in our food.
absolutely, yes. And the young people, we want them to, yes, to see how things grow. And so it's
Yeah,
a responsibility for all of us when we can, yeah, to push
yeah.
them the right direction.
Mm,
And then about the food, yeah, we have except the organic, the other thing I find very important now is to avoid the bad things in food. And the worst thing right now, in my opinion, is the bad oils,
oh
the
yes,
one,
yeah.
this what we call seed oils,
Hmm.
yeah, which is they have very high on omega-6 linoleic acid,
Hmm.
and that creates a lot of inflammation. Like
Hmm.
we need some of it. We cannot stop it, but we get it from everywhere now. Every food you buy ready made in and you don't cook yourself from scratch, it is loaded in the bad oil. It's fried in bad oil,
Hmm.
and it has become a major issue, I think, for health issue worldwide, especially in the Western countries mainly. Um,
Yeah, that doesn't
so
surprise me.
yeah. So I think that's number one for people to avoid. And it's not, it's one, also another thing that is very important, I believe. They have a very long life to come out of our bodies. Like
Mm.
their half-life, if I remember correctly, is about 2 years. And that's a long time, yes.
That's a long time, yes.
A very long time, exactly. And if you keep adding new ones, you're just pushing yeah,
It just
further and
builds up
further.
then.
Yeah,
It can't really kind of recover from all the build up. It gets
that's
just more
right.
and more
Yeah.
and more and can't kind of get rid of it.
Yeah, absolutely. The body and the liver then gets all loaded up with things and the whole system starts getting sluggish, and yeah, does not
Yeah.
he's not happy.
No.
So it's a trigger. Yeah, the bad oils are a trigger of many other problems down the line,
Mm.
um, regarding our um, the whole body really manifests. So that's another major one. And what to have instead? Of course, we need to go back again, another to the animal fats,
Mm.
which another thing that we've been told is bad for us. You know, the
Yeah, yeah,
increased
yeah.
cholesterol. That's another thing that is crumbling now, another myth in a way, health
Yeah.
myth. So no, the animal fats are the best for us. Of course, we need to make sure the animal is as healthy as it has eaten organic food, not
Yeah.
rubbish food or chemical food.
Yeah, the
Um,
grass-fed
grass fed,
animals or chickens that roam free and that
yeah,
are not kind of held in these terrible factory conditions that I've sometimes seen.
definitely.
Yeah, they need to be healthy and happy animals.
Yeah, yeah, it's a major thing. But again, even if the animal was not very healthy, the fat itself is probably better than if you put the bad oils
Yeah, but
in, in your
what
food.
you said was important as well, what they are fed, because what did we was it with CJD that the um was kind of influenced by the feed that the
Yeah,
animals got. Um, I think there was something from some other programs that I picked up, but I can't remember them all now.
yeah,
Where they had I think there was one in Medical Detectives. I watch True Crime Channel. And
okay.
Medical Detectives is an interesting program. There's a variety of stuff coming out. And there was one where they fed animal brains to they mixed it in the feed and they caused thyroid problems in people.
Of course, yes. Yeah, because you don't know if yeah what chemicals, what medicines they had put in the original animal that
Mm,
and yes, basically we've been doing we as humans we've been doing a lot of things wrongly, isn't it? We have been feeding chicken leftovers from other animals, and that's not in nature. They,
no, that's not right.
they like worms to eat.
Mm,
Definitely, they're not vegetarian,
mm,
but don't give them things like that, or giving fish to chicken and then chicken bits to the cows and so on. And that's on top of the grains, which, again, the
mm,
cows are not meant to eat grains, they like grass.
mm,
Lots of mistakes we've been doing. As we take collective responsibility in that. I cannot say anybody in particular,
mm.
but the money is usually the incentive when,
Oh yes, yes.
yeah,
Always
at the back.
follow the money.
Follow the money is
A
what,
good sentence to remember.
yeah,
Follow the money.
it's safe enough. It will lead to
Yeah.
something that you don't like at the end.
Mhm.
Yeah, so back to our food. So the oils we done organic, major, um, and then I think that the vegetables, obviously, to increase the vegetable consumption. I don't think most of us eat enough vegetables in general. Green vegetables, absolutely. To get, so ideally, we want to get as much minerals and vitamins directly from nature rather from supplements, for example. We need the supplements on occasions, but it shouldn't be the standard. It shouldn't be the main way to get our nutrition.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, as much vegetables as possible. It's brilliant. And you don't have to be a vegetarian. It's just, yeah, increase them.
Hmm.
And yeah, I'm trying to
With it,
remember now what else I'm doing, but I think that's
with
the main stuff.
I'm
Cook
just
fresh.
thinking, I'm just thinking of something else that has just escaped my brain again, but it was something to do with vegetables. Oh yes, um, oh supplements. It was
Yeah,
supplements. Don't buy the cheap supermarket market supplements because the way that they're manufactured. Some of the I've been in some of the multi-level marketing ones before that did supplements, and they kind of taught that the way that the supermarket ones, the cheap ones in the supermarket, the supplements, that the way that they are produced, there is not that much actually of what they're meant to be in those supplements
Yeah.
due to the way that manufacture and the processing of the whole thing is going on. So always check with supplements, check the source of the supplements, what's in it, and that make sure they're good quality ones.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an investment if you have to have supplements.
Yeah.
Buy the best you can, the purest, as you say. Absolutely. Yes, there is a lot. But where do you start? Where do you stop with them? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it is a major one. And I mean, I'm taking vitamin D a lot because mind you, not as every day as I should,
Hmm.
because I found myself, I've done some tests and do them routinely now every year to check my levels, and I was so low,
All
very
right.
dangerous. Oh, yeah. And we know now the significance of vitamin D is
Yeah.
immense. They call it a hormone actually because it transfers messages to so many other parts of the body, and it's not just one ingredient, so it's
Mm.
massive. And there you are. We don't have enough sun always in this country, at least.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
a lot of us are low in vitamin D, and we need to keep an eye on that. It's a major issue. Um,
Yeah, the vitamins and the minerals, excuse me, very, very
yeah,
important.
it is, and has to go together with the vitamin K2
Hmm.
because it has to do something with the calcium. So vitamin D helps the body to take the calcium out of and keep it,
Hmm.
but it keeps it in the blood, and that's a place we don't want the calcium to be,
Hmm.
because it's going to go and sit in the bones, uh, or not inside the bones, around the bones, even in the muscles, in the wrong places, and cause
Hmm.
all sorts of problems. So by having the vitamin K2 with it, that helps to distribute the calcium out of the bloodstream and into the bones and teeth and wherever is really needed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And magnesium is the other. There seems to be a set that you have to take all of them together for the benefit, to get the full benefit. So magnesium also is important,
Mm.
and zinc. All of them are
Hmm.
important. You can't
Hmm.
say anything not to be. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the ones that I keep hearing about is calcium, magnesium, zinc, and iron as well.
Iron, I'm not sure anymore because,
For well, for some, I
yeah,
suppose for some things, but not it's the important thing is to look at you know, are you deficient in something or not?
yeah. Yes, so we need more preventative, really, kind of
Mm.
medicine, isn't it? So we all need to have kind of test annually, ideally, find the baseline, and then we know what we need to improve and where,
Yeah, we need to, that's the thing. We need to work more towards prevention, not
yeah,
only when it's too late.
exactly, exactly. Because it's very relatively easy to, to mitigate any problems in the beginning. Maybe adjust a few small adjustments in lifestyle or food, exercise more. That's another thing we don't do enough. And quite often you stop the problem there rather than wait a few years and then becomes a big issue. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we need,
That's one of the problems that I see in the health system. You know, the health they
yeah,
call it health care. It's not really well, is it really health care?
it is emergency care kind of. I don't know what to call it. Yeah, it's
It should be health care, but yeah.
it is. Yeah, it has lost its purpose in a way. So that's why it's important, all of us, and to increase our knowledge, take responsibility for our bodies. Even if we use the main medicine, which we have to obviously, just ask questions. Be a pain. Don't
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
don't
yeah.
accept everything like that. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I have a couple of personal experiences that it was very useful for me to know enough to question
Hmm.
what was coming. And I'll give you an example because I think it's
Yes,
really
please. Yes, please, because maybe that helps some
interesting
other
for, yeah.
listeners.
And okay, that was in the beginning of the lockdown period. So I had to have a certain small operation. I had a kind of cyst inside, how can I say? inside the nose,
Okay.
but somewhere deep somewhere there.
Yeah.
It was a small thing, not a big thing, but because it was not urgent, they kept pushing me and pushing me. So lockdowns came. They said, right, you have to have it now, otherwise you won't. Okay.
Okay.
So I go to the hospital. Before they done it, they said, we need to do blood tests, take your heart, things, blah, blah. They were going to give me general anesthesia. They done the
Okay.
test and they come back, oh, we cannot operate. We have, your heart has arrhythmia. I said, oh, that's strange. I never had any issues. They said, yep. And they sent me down the young cardiologist, the lovely young lady, and said, oh, you shouldn't worry. We can just do a small operation here and we put a pacemaker. And I said, oh, no, I'm sorry. I don't need that. I'm sure I don't need that. Um, I said, that's fine. Look, I'm going to have the operation with local anesthesia. And I done it. It was done.
Mm-hmm.
And then they insisted that I put a heart monitor for a week to check my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And it came back and it was absolutely fine. So I said to them, I was thinking in the meanwhile, why was that happened? And then
Yeah.
I worked it out. The night before the operation, I had eaten a lot of nuts, a lot of walnuts especially.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look it up, they're very high in potassium.
Mm-hmm.
Now, potassium is one of the electrolytes that, together with the natrium in our cells, in the mitochondria of our cells, they create energy. They're the little pumps, yeah, the mitochondria. So
Mm-hmm.
you have on one side the natrium, the other the potassium, they interact and they create electricity, energy for our bodies, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So having eaten too much potassium, I had thrown myself out of sync and the heart had this problem. And
Right.
it is so simple, but none of this, of the lovely doctors there had been taught things like that, had been taught about nutrition, what things contain what.
They don't
This,
get taught about nutrition at all.
no,
If maybe an
hardly.
hour, maybe an hour if they're lucky, but
Yeah,
they do not get
I know.
taught. And it should be one of the basics that they're getting taught.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's so connected with everything to do with health. But that was an important lesson, how important for me at least to reinforcing. I need to keep learning. And I think all of us, we need to try and understand more and more about our body and we have a chance then to get it right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that's an interesting experience to
Mm.
save myself from a pacemaker.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
they're always quick. They're probably getting a good bit of follow the money again. I don't know
yeah, on this
if there
occasion,
is something involved with that as well.
yeah. No, it didn't feel like that on that occasion, but I think that
Mhm.
was all they knew, put it that
Yeah,
way, yeah?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I blame more the education of what they give them and
Yeah, it's the medical training and
the
the way that
training, yeah.
this has all been introduced with from the late 1800s onwards with Rockefeller and Carnegie
Yeah,
starting all this changing and
yes,
Rockefeller
not
with his
right.
oil wealth that seems to have got to him when hey, we turn this into medicine.
Yes,
And then they
you're right.
fixed the report and then they put all these board members in that would influence the training on the universities and the
Yeah,
funding that they would get. And yeah,
it's a long story, in other words.
it's
Yes,
a long
yeah,
story. Yes,
a
yeah.
long story. So we have a lot to undo now and get it right this time.
Oh yeah,
Not
yeah,
go wrong
yeah,
again, all of us. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I like what the Eastern people do. That's just still, with some of Chinese medicine could be interesting. And if we had like a really more holistic system where we bring the best of all the different approaches together and not solely focus on pharma
yes, absolutely. Yeah,
because
because
there's a lot in alternative ways to approach things, and one thing
yeah,
might not work for a person. It might be another one. It might be another approach.
yeah, absolutely. We need to, and in a way, the way the medicine works now, it is all about treating symptoms, isn't it?
Yeah,
You and we don't look at the causes enough. So
yeah,
that's why I insist, like, if you need to use your doctor, which most of us will at some point, keep asking, why is that? Why you think is that? And if they don't know, say, oh, well, I'm going to check it myself or I get
Mm.
another opinion. Or I think we have to insist on that, get that attitude. It's the only way to change, to make them think enough because they're not bad people. Most of them are just doing a job routinely. They don't even
They-
think they need to learn anything else. And by us
yeah,
asking,
yeah.
pushing, we
That's
can make it.
that's the thing that the whole training needs to be changed in a way to incorporate nutrition and how the body works. I mean, I think they do get anatomy training and stuff like that.
Oh, yes.
But do they get
Yeah.
enough on the hormones, the neurotransmitters, all the other things, all the different organs, what they do, when they do it, what should they do, what should they not do,
Yeah.
something like that.
It seems, yes, that's a good point. I think there is over specialization has happened.
Mm,
So you get somebody
yeah.
getting an expert in bones, but who have no idea about the heart and so on. And quite often you need, that's the holistic approach, see the body as a whole.
Yes.
And that helps. It's not an isolated things that we need to deal with. If we do this, how will it affect something else? And it's the way to go, yeah, holistic approach.
Yeah. Yeah. Or what they done. Oh, that's only the physical side. That's only the mental health side, and not connecting the two. That
Oh,
everything's connected.
absolutely. And I think from what I have read so far, and okay, I'm not an expert in the mental health,
Hmm.
but even what we call mental now, it really is physical. There is a physical reason, a trigger, usually, something elsewhere in the body that has ended up manifesting in the brain as a mental issue
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
quite often. And the diet, I mean, we know examples, for example, autism, if we take it, is not a mental issue, but it affects the brain in a way.
Mm.
And the people who had a good diet, like healthy diet with vegetables and cut down on the bad things, they had massive improvement even in autism. So I'm sure it
Yeah.
will be true for other what we call kind of mental diseases.
Or the
Anything.
neurodiverse people, you mean?
Yeah, true. That's the right word. Yes,
That's
thank you.
that's the that's the new word now for like
Yes.
people with autism and ADHD and
Yeah.
things like that. So yeah.
Again, it's the tendencies we make words describing what we see rather
Mm.
than finding what the cause is.
Or
So,
yeah,
yeah,
put a label
it,
on, give a
it's a
diagnosis for the
description.
label. That's kind of
Yeah,
the standard, isn't it? It's a bit
it
sad,
is.
really.
It is. In a way, I find that interesting because being Greek, you can tell from my accent, everybody who listens to this,
Mm.
um, you find in the medical vocabulary, it is very, very much a lot of Greek in it and Latin, the two
And
languages.
Latin, yeah, yeah.
And a lot of the Greek came via the Latin. So for me, it's quite interesting. Sometimes I can see what the terms they appear too technical for the average person. I can get it, I can see what
Yeah.
the real meaning is and makes sense.
Mm.
But again, it's a bit of a yeah, a jargon for me that we
Yeah.
need to understand.
Yeah. Oh, but the medical system's full of jargon, isn't it? There's so much in there.
Yeah, it's another language in a way. So we need to master that as well to communicate with the professionals so you can understand what they tell us.
And also to challenge the professionals when they
And
give
that,
you a lot of jargon, like, okay, you tell me this, and that. What do you mean? What did you want to tell me with that?
yes,
I don't
absolutely.
speak medical jargon.
I know it is, yeah, another little thing we can help with.
Mm, mm, yeah.
Oh, I was looking, I made some notes, as I said, about the food.
Hmm.
The toxicity,
Yes.
it is something like maybe we can touch upon it because it comes from so many areas now.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of, I think the chemical industry has a lot to answer for. There was a lady that I actually wanted to get her on the podcast as well, but she hasn't responded yet. I have to check up with her because she wrote a
Yeah.
book. She's called Joanna Blythman, and she's wrote a book that's called Swallow This. And
Ah,
she's an journalist, and she went to a food fair, so to speak, and that was actually in Germany. She went to this food fair, and there was all these people, these exhibiting new chemicals that make the food look nicer, the food taste
Mm.
nicer. Um, and she described as well sometimes how in the food, the way they process the food and how it actually looks there and what they then put in to make it look better,
Yeah,
something like that. It was a huge insight for me.
yeah,
She also
absolutely.
talked
Yeah,
trans fats and sweeteners and things. Sweeteners. Did you know that aspartame, as it's called in it's called a lot of different names now to kind of
yeah,
hide it that it's actually the real aspartame, right? So
yeah,
that should actually never have got on the market, but they sneaked it through in the 80s.
yeah. Another one that, yeah. And you remind me now, there is another one that is hidden, maltodextrin.
Oh yeah.
It's another sweetener, but they have passed it as a um, taste enhancer or a
Mm,
preservative. So
yeah.
it goes under other categories. So they can say to you, this is low sugar or no sugar, but you'll find the word maltodextrin hidden in the ingredients
Yeah.
under
Yeah.
preservative or something. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
another bad artificial thing for us, no good.
Yeah.
Which
There's
brings
there's a
us,
there's a few more sweeteners as well. But well, I get alerted when I see no sugar, no added sugar.
yeah,
I look on the ingredients list and I think, which one is it this time? Is it sucralose? Is it um NutraSweet or whatever they're
yeah,
called nowadays, or as acesulfame K or something? You know,
yeah.
all
There's so
these,
many.
oh,
There's so many.
all these ones that whenever there's a no sugar, no added sugar, or no added, yeah, something like that. If they had see that on something, look at the ingredients list and don't buy it because that stuff is worse than sugar.
Yeah. Which you touch upon another very important thing.
Mm,
Read labels. Okay. We need to read everything we buy. It's very time consuming, I must say. I have done it for a long
it
time.
is, yeah.
Yeah. But
And
it's
it's not
worth
easy when you've got bad eyesight as well, because
well,
it's
we
always
both
it
wear
has to be
glasses.
the smallest writing so that you just don't read it, discourage you from reading it, small writing. I use
Tiny,
the
yes.
I use the mobile and make it, use the camera and make it bigger than I read it.
No, absolutely, yes. And I remember some packets, they even you find the ingredients in the fold. So you have to
Mm.
almost half open it to read the ingredients. It's another
Yeah, that's not
mistake, yeah.
right, is it?
Yeah. So, but definitely, it's another one of our weapons, I would say.
Mm.
We read the ingredients and and don't buy anything that has too many in the first place. That's the other.
If it if
Again,
it reads more like a chemical lab
yeah,
instruction, then it's not worth buying.
it's not worth it. And that extends actually not only to the food, it's also the products we buy for personal products.
Oh,
That's another area,
absolutely.
isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, anything we put on our skin
Mm,
becomes food for the body. We
mm,
don't realize that. The body will absorb it and use it, think, oh, okay, let's see what we can do with that. But
yeah,
quite often there is so much bad stuff in this.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so for
yeah. That's another. See,
cosmetics,
that's one of the things that they can shout at multi-level marketing companies as much as they like, as calling it a pyramid scheme, or as whatever they want to call it.
yeah,
Normal employment is pyramid schemes as well, if you look at it properly. But
okay.
as I said, you can call multi-level marketing whatever they want, but they do teach a lot of knowledge because that was my eye openers about food, about personal care, what's all in that stuff, and what was the other lads saying about how long it takes for the skin to absorb what's going on it. I think she talked
Oh,
about
about
26 seconds, but I'm not sure if that's
so
the if you've got another
it
figure for
differs.
that.
I think it differs depending. There are some things that can be absorbed. 2 hours is the average I had read somewhere, but
Right.
there are with very few. Some substances can be done in seconds, can be absorbed
Mm,
in seconds.
mm,
So yeah, we need to be very, very aware. And this sunscreens is another one my pet hates. Yeah, which
Yeah. Oh,
totally bad.
I've got one for you for that one.
Really?
In Hawaii, they do not allow sunscreen, and if you go in the ocean,
Yeah,
I
it
read
pollutes
something
the
about
ocean as
that,
well.
and
Yeah,
that's good because it pollutes the oceans as well. Then
it does.
you
It
put
does.
that on.
I must say, sometimes you remind me now. I've been sometimes I go to Greece in summer. Obviously, it's
Mm.
nice to go to the sea.
Yeah.
There have been occasions when you can see kind of oil floating n- near the beach side. Not if you go
Ugh.
deep, it's fine. It is
Yeah.
all the sunscreens and the stuff people put on them.
Mm-hmm.
It comes off and floats like
Mm.
in the sunlight. Yeah,
Mm.
definitely not healthy stuff.
Mm-mm.
But uh, but everything. I mean, these days, let's say we're surrounded by toxins. It's so
Yeah.
in a way, our job is quite tricky right now. We have to be kind of detectives of for everything,
Yeah. Yeah.
reading, finding
Yeah.
before.
Just researching, questioning people,
Yeah,
questioning things, questioning facts, investigating, researching.
yeah, absolutely,
That's important. Yeah.
and it helps. But yeah, having like a podcast like what you do, it's a brilliant, uh, positive thing because people will listen. We all learn something every time, isn't it? None of us
Yeah.
can say we know enough. No, the
Oh,
knowledge keeps coming.
we will never know everything, no matter what some people
Yeah,
say that, or their approach. If they have an approach of, oh no, I know everything now. No, you don't.
exactly.
No one ever will.
Yeah,
And it is good if we don't really with some things like with some spiritual connection or energy stuff, and things that could be abused for not so savory purposes. If science doesn't find out some things, then it might be a good thing.
yes, yes. It is, it is a lot.
That's
And
how I look at it.
yeah, I think I can't remember who said it, a quote, another quote that the wise people are the ones they say that they don't know if they don't know anything, kind of. Yeah, I
Yeah,
paraphrased it now,
yeah,
but
yeah.
that's the essence. Yeah, the wiser you become, the less you think you know. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
yeah,
Well, never stop learning. That's the other thing. Never stop learning.
absolutely. Yeah,
Be
yeah,
curious about what's going on, and don't just don't just sit in front of the TV, believe everything they're telling you.
yeah. Oh well, I don't have a TV like we don't have a TV in this where I live now
Oh,
for
very
at least
good.
5 years, I think. Yes. It has not been missed either. But I
Mm.
still get the odd letter from BBC claiming that they have a right to
Ugh, yeah, yeah.
the license.
Mm. Yeah,
I tell
I haven't got to the stage yet with getting
you,
rid of my TVs. I'm kind of yeah, I'm very close to it, but I'm not because I'm watching these just true crime channels, and
there, there are a few good
I
things,
find
but
that very interesting as well.
yeah,
So I
I know.
use it for some, but I don't watch the I don't watch the other stuff.
No, there are good documentaries and
Not
things,
good
but
for the mind. It's not good for the mind. It's polluting the mind with
yeah,
stuff that it doesn't need. And
yes,
with fear and with creating fear and worry and anxiety. We need to
yes,
keep our
especially the
mind
news.
clean.
Yeah, if you hear the news, especially, they seem to all you hear is bad things. Yet, and you
Mhm.
think the whole
Yeah.
world is bad. So yeah, no. Something else. Okay, but talking about the mind, what I
Hmm.
remember now reading about the plastics
Oh,
and
yes. Yeah, yeah,
how
yeah.
they seem to have now made their way all over our body. They're found, but in particular, they accumulate in the brain and yeah, something like the nanoplastics, like the tiny tiny bits, which are under 100 nanometers. Um, they really may break the brain bar. How do you call it?
Blood-brain
Brain
barrier?
blood-brain
Yeah.
barrier, correct? Which is kind of a membrane protecting us,
Hmm.
things to go there. They can go through, and
That's
they're
worrying.
absorbed. Yeah, it's very worrying. It's very worrying, and they can the yeah they can be absorbed in a couple of hours, basically, that fast once they
Wow.
make their way in the body.
Mm.
And they're everywhere. The plastics now. That's another big issue of toxicity we have, and it's everywhere virtually. All these
Yeah.
years we've been consuming plastics used for packaging, for in everything we use plastics. They have
Bottles,
started
water bottles,
breaking down.
drinking
Yeah, yeah.
bottles.
So that's another thing we need to try to get ourselves out of gradually in our
Yeah.
houses, in what we use, less and less plastic, back to glass,
Mm.
to wood, whatever is natural to. But it's a long fight, this one, because they're gone into the
Yeah.
sea, they're in the air, in the soil. That's another thing. They have made their way into the soil now.
Mm.
And they're found increasingly in our bodies, and
Hmm.
they accumulate in the brain, ovaries, testes, important organs.
Yeah.
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 So we don't know yet the long-term effects.
It
We
is.
just have to be aware, minimize them as
I
much.
think there's not enough research. I haven't heard enough or seen enough
Yeah.
research on that on the subject of like microplastics.
Yeah.
There needs to be more happening.
It has started becoming a major, major threat for life in general, not just us,
Yeah.
the animals,
Yeah.
the fish. Yeah. And we eat fish yeah, we get
Yeah,
that.
the whole pollution of the oceans and things, and
Yeah,
then when if the fish take it in, and we will eat it
we
through the
do. Yeah,
fish.
yeah, yeah,
So
exactly. That's on top, like mercury is the other one that the fish now seem to be absorbing more
hmm
and comes back to us that way. So
yeah,
yeah, it's
or
all
if
over the place.
yeah, if you um if medicine or any kind of pharmaceutical are discarded into the water,
And yeah,
you
so
know
many
that
places.
can't be good either.
Absolutely, yeah. The water quality is another thing. There's so many things to watch out for.
Oh, you know what I read? Last night I think I read it that you know Robert Kennedy in the States,
Yeah,
who's
yeah,
now
yeah,
in charge of health over there.
yeah.
He is trying to get I think it's the FDA to discourage the use of fluoride in water.
Oh, that would be brilliant. Yes, absolutely. Another
But
unnecessary thing. We don't need it at all. We don't need
yeah,
it. And it really, if you read a little bit about it, it started as industrial waste. The
yes,
fluoride, another one. They
yeah.
didn't know what to do with it, so
I
let's
know.
put in the
Oh,
water.
let's put it in the water. Let's
Yeah,
claim it's good for our teeth.
exactly. Oh my God, terrible. And now in the UK, we didn't used to have fluoride, and I remember the last few years been announced that they will introduce it to help us
I heard
save
that
our
as
teeth.
well.
But
I
I'm not sure which areas have it yet. It's not
mm.
all over the country, but they have started it,
That
and that's
gives me an idea actually that I need to try to check with my water company. Are you putting fluoride into the water? If so, how much?
yeah, good
No,
point.
we should really
Yeah,
question them.
we need can do a how do you call it, subject access request, perhaps to they have to disclose
Mm.
exactly what they
Oh, is
put
that
in.
information of freedom kind of request
Freedom, yeah,
type thing they have to do about it?
yes, that's a
Yeah,
very good point. Actually, we need to publish all the stuff so people
yeah,
know what they're drinking.
yeah, yeah.
We filter water. I mean, yeah, I bought several filters, try, but
Yeah, I've got a filter bottle here that this, another one of
for that,
the multi-level marketing companies that I was with, but that had good a good white paper. They get their things tested by independent you know non-related companies to
yeah,
make sure the quality is good. And I think again,
yeah,
you can call them whatever you want. You know, some listeners might say, "Oh, multi-level. She's talking so much about these multi-level marketing companies." But they do things, some of them are really good and they do really good stuff. They could produce good quality products. Yes, they do
yeah.
cost, I know, and it's not affordable for some, including me at the moment, but they do good work.
Yeah, like everything, we have to be to discriminate and just yeah,
Yeah.
don't generalize. Some
Yeah,
things will be
yeah,
good, some will not be, and so on. Yeah.
yeah. That's the thing.
So yes,
Yeah.
water is another thing we all need to do
hmm
uh, as clean water as we can. A distiller, I got a distiller. I haven't used it yet.
Uh-huh.
It's another method but that will take everything out.
Right.
Uh, I found it was difficult to get enough good enough filters for fluoride.
Hmm.
They can catch other things, but fluoride is escaping quite often.
Hmm.
So distiller takes everything out, but that includes also the good minerals. So we need to
Yeah, you
remove
don't want to have
fluoride.
those taken out. That's right.
Yeah, but sometimes to avoid the bad things, you do that, and then you need to add some good salt, some Celtic salt,
Mm.
which has most about 80% of the minerals we need,
Hmm.
which is not bad. So you can a little bit of salt in there, and helps to balance again the water. It is
Mm.
like a balancing act, trying to
It is. It is.
escape
Yeah.
something, find something. Yeah, it's a balance
Yeah.
between avoiding the bad things and having enough good things in your
Having
life.
enough good things. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, it's not easy to.
It's
It's
not easy,
definitely
and
not
yeah,
easy.
and a lot of people, yeah, they're becoming fed up, I think, from trying to do too many things. But
Mm.
it has to become a kind of norm and a state of mind, and don't even think about it. Just
That's it. That's it. State of mind,
yeah,
mindset. Get the right mindset.
yeah,
Develop the right mindset to do the things that are
we
good
have to
for
do.
you, and
Yeah,
not just not move away from quick fixes because people are
yeah,
with now with the mobile phones and computers and everything's at the click of a button. It
yes.
doesn't always work like that. Nature doesn't do click of a button.
No, that's very true. That's very true. And again, there's another saying about we have it's convenience versus safety, or versus yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
we give in to convenience a lot, isn't our life has become a lot more convenient than previous generations, but we pay the price now because
Yeah. Yeah.
a lot of things are not good for us, and we were not
Yeah.
adapted enough for a lot
Yeah.
of them.
And that's the thing as well with that how they try and sell us all these things that are not good, like digital currency or
Oh, yes.
everything's gonna be sold on the basis of look, it makes your life much more easier. And
Yeah.
and then you don't need to watch about this and you don't need to watch about that, but they never tell you about the consequences.
Sometimes they haven't even researched enough to find the consequences. That's a problem, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
all the quick
Yeah.
answer. So yes, that's another lesson for all of us. Less
Mm.
convenience, and we do
Abs
things a bit the hard way sometimes. But also,
absolutely.
that's it. We should not stress about it, because I find a lot of people now becoming very stressed with the
Yes.
amount of information coming, and realizing the task of how much we need to do to improve, to take control back of our health, basically. We
Yeah.
have to do so many steps, and it can be very stressful for people. And that's, we need to find the mental attitude to avoid feeling like that, because we know stress in itself, it's again, it destroys health. It,
Absolutely. Yeah.
it
Stress
is,
is not
yeah,
good for us at all. Uh,
it,
Especially
yeah,
if it's like ongoing stress.
definitely, yeah,
That's really depleting the body and the mind. It affects both sides and
yeah.
it can lead to illness, serious illness. So
It does indeed, because yeah, we have the body, the adrenals, which are what happens when we are stressed. We activate the adrenals, and they're only supposed to the sympathetic system and the parasympathetic. We only It's only supposed to come in quickly for us to the adrenal glands to raise adrenaline, for us to do
yeah.
something to get out of danger, and then
If
has to
that's
come
really,
down
yes,
again. Yeah,
it needs to be there for the real danger, not for the just
correct. Yes,
not when because our brain is so weird. It still shouts at the smallest things. And if it doesn't know something,
yeah,
the amygdala goes off, danger, danger, danger. And
yeah.
hello, calm down. It's just something that you don't know right now. We need to do this,
Yes,
but then it shouts at the smallest things, and that's what sets people off so quickly. You
yes.
know,
It is, as you say, we have somehow to manage to get our brain in a state of, okay, we can deal with that. That's fine. Yes,
yeah,
there's a
yeah.
danger there. It's not good. We'll deal with it. We can, and we can indeed. So that's important again, to keep us sane and healthy. They go together. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Right, every week. coming to a conclusion of the podcast, is there any kind of things that you wouldn't to promote? Have you got anything you want to promote?
Oh
I
gosh.
always give people the chance to promote what they want to, what they're working on at the moment, or any links how people can contact you.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll tell you about the current project. Is um, myself together with my partner, who I think you met before. We developed a project called Thriver,
Hmm.
and this was for all of us, like, and we want to expand it and many people to get in that, to learn what we've been talking about here, to take control of our life again and
Hmm.
prepare for bad things that may come our way in the near future, because we are becoming very aware of we may have food shortages coming along the way for
Yeah.
many reasons, from strikes, from less and less land being used, for fires that happen, accidents. There is a prognosis from people who know that our food supply is not so steady as it should be.
Yeah.
So it increasing awareness of people and then having answers for that, and empowering everybody to have an answer and not be panic if
Hmm.
something happens, And to remember back the skills, like we talked before, of we knew how to do things. We don't have to buy everything ready. If suddenly, for
Yeah.
some reason, um, there is an embargo, or there is a trade war, you can see now the tariffs in the U.S. raising tariffs, so other countries will raise their own tariffs. Some products we may not have access to anymore. Let's face it. We need to
Mm.
know how to produce them. We need
Yeah.
to know what we don't need and be very strict on that. And the things we need, learn how to do them ourselves. Learn how to mend our things to last longer. We have become a
Yeah.
throwaway society.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so
Very true.
everything from clothes to machinery to computers. Uh, we need to make things last longer. We don't have to keep changing them, because one day
Mm.
soon we may not have the luxury to do that, to buy a
Yeah.
new stuff. We need to be. So that's the whole idea, philosophy of Thriver is, and to empower people. So whatever happens, and we don't always have good things happening, good or bad, to thrive. So it's a
Mm.
state of mind and the confidence in your own skills you develop, and
Mm.
the people near you and the community, that you can help each other in an emergency or in a need.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
it's
that's
very much,
something that's gone lost as well, hasn't it?
yeah. So that's a small group on Signal at the moment. We don't have a website yet, but
Hmm.
it's on the pipeline. So maybe when it's ready, I can give you
All right.
a link
Okay.
for you to
That'd
post
be
it. But
great. Yeah. 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 When you get it, I can always add it later in the show notes.
I can give you the Signal though, for anybody who's on. Signal is like the WhatsApp. I know many people haven't heard of it. It's a new one. We prefer it because it's a lot more. It's not controlled, let's say, by the
Yeah.
likes of Facebook and
Yes.
and and Bill and the famous Bill, who puts his nose in
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. I
So
need to go back on Signal as well. I used it for some time, and then kind of people that I was connected on there, they stopped using it and went more to Telegram and to
yes,
WhatsApp or
Telegram has been good.
Telegram. But then, yeah, I think it's coming back again for folk as well. So I go back on it. And if you're on it, it's
Yeah.
worth going on it.
It is, and in a way, we saw how it's another way of our power. You remember,
Mm.
uh, I hope I don't take your time now, but just a quick one.
That's all right.
When Facebook bought the WhatsApp, which was it's still a very popular thing, but they bought it and they said they will use the data for their meta, whatever projects they had. They would use the
Yeah.
WhatsApp data. So everybody was up in arms. We did not sign for that. You didn't ask us.
Mm.
So we voted with our feet and left WhatsApp in masses and went to Telegram at the time. And then they backtracked and said, okay, sorry, apologies, we are not going to do that. So this is the power we have as when we work all together and to look after ourselves and our benefit. We don't have to follow whatever they want.
Correct.
We
Yeah.
choose to go there. Now Telegram, okay, it's been brilliant, it's been good for us. There are hints that things are not so as good as they could be. Okay.
Yeah, I keep hearing that
Again,
as well.
we're moving to the next best thing. It may
Hmm.
not be forever, but that's our power collectively
Yeah.
to sort, yeah, we are not happy with that, we go somewhere else, yeah. And
Yeah.
we do the same with shopping. Anybody who is, uh, wants to have products full of crap stuff that's bad for us, we need not to buy it. That's it. We don't need
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And keep buying from straight, if we can, from farmers markets, grow our own, do things like that. That's
Yeah.
it, basically. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
if you can give the link, it will be great. I appreciate
yeah,
it.
that's brilliant. Yes, send the link if you can. That's
Will
fantastic.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll find a link for Signal as well, and maybe put that in for people if they
yeah.
want to swap from Telegram or WhatsApp to Signal. Might well
For a
be
while,
worth doing it.
yeah, for a while, keep them all going if you want, and gradually, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
It takes a
definitely.
while to get all your friends and family to
Oh, always, yeah,
come
yeah.
out, but
And some of them are still resisting, and people don't. A lot of people don't like change, even though change is happening
I
all
know,
the time. Change is
I
happening
know.
consistently, continuously. But
Yeah,
yeah, some people resist.
I
We need to
think
be
yes,
flexible. We need to have an agile mind that is, ready for new things. And because if
yes,
we have a fixed mindset, this is not good, especially not in our
no,
times where we live now.
definitely. It keeps
All
us young
right.
as well. As long as the mind is flexible and agile and curious, it keeps
Yes,
the whole body keeps younger than it
that's it. That's
would be
it.
otherwise.
That's it.
The state of
Everything,
mind.
thank you so much for coming on the show. It was an absolute pleasure to have you,
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure indeed for me as well. And all the best for
and all the best to
your
you as well.
adventures.
Thank you
Thank you
so
very much.
much. Thank you.